Hey my loves, back with another response to the tag Top Tarot Trumps that was started by Marsha of Musings by Marsha. We are currently up to the Chariot. So we're going to be looking through 5 examples today of chariots from different decks that I really like. I'm going to get started with, first and foremost, I wasn't going to let the video pass without showing one from this deck, obviously. We have our Fyodor Pavlov Chariot. What I like about this one is, of course, in the guidebook, it's referenced Apollo and Helios. So I wasn't going to let this card pass without, having our mentions to mythology. I like the art style as usual. I like that we have still many of the same symbols represented. We have the moons, just like on the Rider-Waite, where you have these 2 moons on the shoulders. We have the moons in the top of the chariot itself. We've got the 2 horses, of course, similar to the 2 sphinxes. This one really talks about the idea of victory, but also victory being an ongoing process, which I really like. When I think of the chariot, I definitely think of victory, momentum, and progress, and also just the victory of one's own will, I guess, over physical conditions. So we have this charioteer here who is guided by the stars, divine inspiration, and who is in this really relaxed position, isn't really holding on to any reins, isn't in any kind of strain or stress, is just really has complete control over the surroundings and is protecting this city that's in the background, or this, castle that's in the background. We have a bit more of a demonstration of movement in this one. So when I draw the chariot in this deck, I definitely have that idea of momentum coming up in the reading. Next one is, of course, the 8 Coins Tattoo Tarot. I like this one because it is reminiscent of Jesus and Jesus tattoos, which is a really classic tattoo motif, very common and all throughout tattoo history. We have Jesus's, and of course, throughout art history itself, we have different depictions of that particular figure. I also like in this one the little horse that's at the bottom there. It's not the depiction of 2 horses, it's just the one emblem. And that emblem sort of reminds me of like the Ferrari logo. So it's just another thing that gives me a little chuckle whenever I pull out this card. I sort of definitely thinking about speed then. Next up is the Chariot from the Animal Totem Tarot that features the orca. The guidebook on this one talks a bit about the ripple effect, how anytime that you make a decision or make a movement or take a step, it causes consequences. It can be negative or positive or neutral. I really like that idea of the ripple, as this is, a water card. The Chariot we typically associate with Cancer, which is a water sign. So having a water animal as the chariot, I think, is pretty clever. And it also talks about how orcas are a very coordinated hunter. So they hunt in packs and they have total mastery of their movement and coordination through the water, and that's how they can be so successful at hunting and surviving. And when we think about the sign of Cancer, which is what's associated with the chariot, we often think about a person who's quite, we might say, sensitive. And I think that is what the chariot has, I don't want to say victory over, but this kind of meeting of the mind and the intuition, and the ability to coordinate those two really helps to bring us success in our endeavors and help to propel us forward. And that's what I really get from this chariot with the orca on it. So next up we have the Chariot from the Transient Light Tarot. Now this one, the book describes it as being about speaking our will into being, which I think is really clever. The charioteer, it says, is in total control and brings their desire or their will into being just by breathing it into life. And I think that's really clever imagery. It's not necessarily what we would typically think of when we think of the chariot, and that's why I think that's really clever. The other thing is, It doesn't say so in the book, so I might be just ascribing my own meaning onto this one, but it makes me think of psychedelics. It makes me think of something going on to the tongue rather than something coming out of the mouth. So that's another vehicle through which we can be making progress and learning things. And so that's a bit of an association that I think of when I look at this card. Last up, honestly, I do have more oracle decks than I have tarot decks, so I wanted to include an oracle card, as I have been doing for the last few videos. So this one is from the Urban Crow oracle deck, and it's card 46, Soar, which is about having the total power to finalize your decision and to fly, you know, to have that mastery over the air currents, you could think of it as, you know, over the mind when we translate the language of the element into the tarot, you know, air, the mind, the thoughts, having the mastery to be able to then follow your heart wherever you want. Like a bird, we think of a bird being free, and we think of a bird as a result having a bird's eye view over things. So being able to attain that knowledge due to that freedom to wander. And I just thought that was a very lovely kind of way to close out. So those were my 5 favorite chariots or chariot related cards. Thank you again to Marsha for starting the tag Top Tarot Trumps. Please, if you haven't already, go check out the other videos being posted under the hashtag. It's very fun to watch everyone's favorite examples and also to hear what people think of when it comes to each of the major arcana cards. So if you've enjoyed this one, do subscribe. So thank you again, Marsha, and thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.